In the past few weeks, a headline has been circulating across YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok that has left audiences stunned. Scotland Yard issues an arrest warrant for Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso. The claim is explosive. A young African leader, often portrayed as a symbol of defiance against Western powers, suddenly facing arrest by one of the most recognized police institutions in the world. It's no surprise the story spread like wildfire. But here's the problem. When we dig into the facts, there's no official confirmation. No BBC reports, no Reuters coverage, no announcements from Scotland Yard itself. In fact, every credible check shows that such a warrant has not been issued. Yet the story continues to grow, fueled by dramatic thumbnails, bold text, and social media algorithms that reward sensational content. So why are so many people believing this? Why would the idea of Scotland Yard pursuing Traoré feel believable enough to go viral? And what does it reveal about the global political landscape, media culture, and Traoré's unique position as a leader? In this video, we'll break it all down into 5 key parts. First, we'll look at where this claim came from and how it spread. Then, we'll explore who Ibrahim Traoré really is and why he attracts such attention. We'll move into the facts. How Scotland Yard and international arrest warrants actually work, and why the claim doesn't hold up. After that, we'll uncover why such rumors spread so quickly in the digital age. Finally, we'll ask the big what-if question. What would happen if a warrant like this ever became real? By the end, you'll see the bigger picture, and not just the truth behind the rumor, but also what it means for the relationship between Africa, the West, and the power of media in shaping perceptions. Let's dive in. The viral story didn't begin in major newspapers or on TV. Instead, it emerged on social media platforms. YouTube channels with sensational titles, TikTok clips with dramatic edits, and Facebook posts with bold captions all began repeating the same phrase. Scotland Yard issues an arrest warrant for Ibrahim Traoré. At first glance, these videos seem convincing. They use Scotland Yard's logo, stock images of courtrooms, and photos of Traoré in military uniform. The editing style makes it appear like breaking news. But when viewers check for sources, the trail ends quickly. None of the claims are linked to verified news agencies. This pattern is common in the age of digital misinformation. A small rumor can be inflated into a massive news event simply because it looks believable. And in this case, the claim tapped into multiple hot-button issues: global mistrust of Western powers, admiration for African resistance, and the ongoing struggle for sovereignty in regions historically exploited by colonialism. Why Traoré? Because his name is already associated with resistance. By saying Scotland Yard is after him, content creators tap into a ready-made story that audiences are primed to believe. Interestingly, this isn't the first time such rumors have spread. In past years, similar claims have been made about other African leaders, from Muammar Gaddafi to Robert Mugabe, where supposed international warrants circulated online, even when no legal action was actually underway. The formula works. Pick a controversial figure, link them to a powerful Western institution, and the audience takes care of the rest. The Scotland Yard rumor is a textbook case of how modern misinformation spreads, fast, unchecked, and amplified by algorithms that prioritize engagement over accuracy. The story wouldn't have gained traction without its central figure, Ibrahim Traoré, born in 1988. Traoré was an army captain before he emerged as the leader of Burkina Faso's transitional government in September 2022. His rise was sudden. Following frustrations with ongoing insecurity, terrorism, and what many citizens saw as ineffective leadership, Traoré led a military takeover that ousted the previous junta. At just 34 years old, he became the youngest serving head of state in the world. But what made Traoré stand out wasn't just his age. It was his message. He framed himself as a defender of Burkina Faso's sovereignty. One of his first major moves was ordering French troops to leave the country. He also refused to bow to international financial pressures, choosing instead to align Burkina Faso with Mali, Niger, and even Russia. This positioned him as a vocal critic of Western influence, particularly in Africa. For supporters, Traoré represents a new generation of African leadership, bold, unapologetic, and unwilling to follow the rules set by former colonial powers. His speeches often invoke themes of dignity, independence, and resistance, which resonate strongly among young Africans who feel trapped by cycles of economic exploitation and political instability. But for critics, his leadership style raises questions. Is his approach truly about liberation, or is it about consolidating power under military rule? By allying with Russia and other non-Western powers, is he opening the door to new forms of dependency? These debates make him one of the most polarizing leaders on the continent. Supporters see him as a revolutionary. Detractors see him as reckless, and that's precisely why the rumor about Scotland Yard targeting him went viral. It didn't matter if it was true. It fit into a narrative people were already discussing. To test the claim, let's examine the facts. Could Scotland Yard really issue an arrest warrant for a foreign head of state like Ibrahim Traoré? Scotland Yard, officially known as the Metropolitan Police Service, is the main police body serving Greater London. While it does investigate serious crimes and sometimes works with international law enforcement, its jurisdiction is primarily within the UK. Arrest warrants in the UK must pass through legal processes involving courts and, often, the Crown Prosecution Service. When it comes to international figures, things get even more complicated. The International Criminal Court, ICC, in The Hague, is the body most often associated with pursuing world leaders. It has issued arrest warrants for figures like Sudan's Omar al-Bashir and Russia's Vladimir Putin. But these cases involved allegations of crimes against humanity or war crimes, supported by lengthy investigations and legal proceedings. Then there's Interpol, which issues red notices, essentially alerts requesting the arrest of individuals wanted by a member state. But here's the catch. Heads of state usually enjoy diplomatic immunity. Unless they step down from office, they are shielded from arrest under international law. So even if Scotland Yard wanted to pursue Traoré, it couldn't legally issue a warrant on its own. It would need the backing of UK courts, international legal bodies, and political agreements. And as of now, no such legal case exists. This legal reality exposes the flaw in the viral claim. It simply doesn't align with how the system works. But the fact that people still believed it reveals something deeper. How narratives can override facts when emotions are strong. If the claim is false, why did it spread so far, so fast? The answer lies in how today's information ecosystem works. First, sensational headlines perform better online. A video titled "Scotland Yard Issues Warrant for Traoré" will always attract more attention than one saying "no evidence of warrant against Traoré" content. Creators know this and often exaggerate for clicks. Second, the story fits into existing global narratives. For those who see Traoré as a threat to Western powers, the rumor feels like proof that the West is moving against him. For those who admire him, the idea that he's being targeted confirms their belief that he's fighting a system that doesn't want independent African leaders. Third, social media algorithms amplify engagement. When people click, comment, and share, the platforms push the content further, regardless of accuracy. Before long, a rumor transforms into news simply because enough people believe it. Finally, distrust of mainstream media adds fuel. Many viewers no longer trust traditional outlets, so when an alternative channel claims something dramatic, they are more likely to believe it. This creates a perfect storm for misinformation. The rumor about Scotland Yard and Traoré is more than just a false headline. It's a case study in how information, power, and perception collide in the digital age. Although false, the idea of a warrant against Traoré raises an important question. What if it were true? If Scotland Yard or Interpol actually issued such a warrant, the reaction would be immediate and dramatic. Across Africa, especially in countries like Mali and Niger that have aligned with Traoré, there would likely be massive protests. Many would view the move as proof of Western attempts to suppress African sovereignty. The African Union might issue a strong statement condemning the action. Western powers would face accusations of neo-colonialism. Meanwhile, Russia and other countries opposed to Western dominance would seize the moment to portray themselves as defenders of Africa's independence. On a diplomatic level, such a warrant could destabilize already fragile relations between Europe and Africa. Economic partnerships could be strained, military cooperation weakened, and new alliances formed. The shockwaves would not be limited to Africa. Globally, it could trigger debates about international law, sovereignty, and the limits of Western influence. In short, such a move would set off a geopolitical storm. And that's exactly why the rumor caught fire, because it tapped into these possibilities even if they were hypothetical. So, where does that leave us? The claim that Scotland Yard has issued an arrest warrant for Ibrahim Traoré is, as of now, completely unfounded. There is no evidence, no legal documentation, and no official confirmation. It remains a rumor, one that spread because it felt dramatic, believable, and emotionally powerful. But the lesson here isn't just about one false story. It's about the bigger picture. In today's world, headlines move faster than facts. Stories that confirm our hopes or fears are more likely to go viral than stories that challenge them. Leaders like Traoré, who stand at the center of global debates about sovereignty, power, and justice will always be magnets for such rumors. As viewers, we need to remember one simple rule. Always question the headline. Don't just share because it sounds shocking. Look deeper. Check the facts. Because the truth, while sometimes less dramatic, is always more important. And in this case, the truth is clear. There is no warrant. But the fact that so many believed there was tells us something powerful. The world is watching Ibrahim Traoré very closely, and his story is far from over.